Hello, everyone. I'm Natasha Fatah. Welcome inside the CBC Newsroom. And we begin with devastating news from South Asia. A magnitude 6 earthquake hit 4 provinces in eastern Afghanistan, devastating the region. At least 800 people are dead. Some 2,500 more are injured. And there is considerable fear that both those numbers are going to rise. Countless people are still trapped beneath the debris while search and rescue operations continue. The rugged, mountainous region of Kunar is the worst affected, with tremors flattening homes and subsequently triggering landslides and flooding. The powerful quake was felt as far away as Islamabad, nearly 300 kilometers from the epicenter. A spokesperson for the ruling Taliban party says a special committee has been formed by the Prime Minister's office to aid victims of the earthquake. They say measures have been taken to evacuate people and deliver food and other essential supplies to the affected areas. Let's stay on the story and bring into the conversation Deepmala Mahla. She is the Chief Humanitarian Officer for CARE. Thank you so much for joining us, Deepmala.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I understand that you've been in touch with your colleagues in Afghanistan, the team that is operating there. Are you even able to speak to them? I mean, what is the connection like? What are you hearing from them?
What I'm hearing is that the situation is very difficult at the moment, and people are very frightened because of the aftershocks, especially in the provinces of Kunar, Lagman, and Nangarhar. There has been tremendous damage, especially Kunar. I'm also hearing that entire villages have been flattened. But Natasha, let's put this in perspective. Where is this happening? In Afghanistan, where 23 million people have already been in dire need of humanitarian assistance, half of the country. So they have been facing one crisis over the other. The roads have been blocked. Access is very difficult. So our teams are really struggling and walking several hours on difficult paths to be able to meet the survivors.
I'm so glad you brought up some of the multitude of stresses on Afghanistan as we speak. Let's talk about aid distribution and the rescue operations, these things that need to be done almost immediately. How does an organization like yours go about doing that when it's so difficult to get around in Afghanistan?
I mean, every minute, not even an hour, every minute is of essence. We are hearing hundreds and thousands are injured, maybe trapped under the rubble. So we really have to be very quick. So organizations like CARE, we have decades of experience in the country. We responded to the recent earthquake 2 years ago in Herat. So through our local partners, through our volunteers, we conduct a very rapid assessment of what do people need. And what we are hearing is people immediately need food, water, shelter, blankets, warm clothes, and cooking items. And medicines and medical care is also critically important. So when we start responding, we coordinate with the local groups, women groups, and try to move as much as we can. But as you indicated, because of the road blockage and because of the funding shortfalls also, it is tremendously challenging.
Deepmala, I would be wrong to not ask you about a concern that certainly popped up in my mind, and I believe in the minds of many others today when we saw this story initially, which is if we want to support the people of Afghanistan, does that mean that aid will somehow go into the hands of the Taliban? This is a major concern for those in the West.
I think when we support an aid operation, we have to think, who are you supporting? If you are supporting an organization like CARE or other charities, we have very specialized accountability mechanisms where we ensure that the aid goes to the most vulnerable people. This is very well documented. This can be tracked upon. So I can assure you, organizations who have strong systems ensure that the aid is going to the most vulnerable people. Now, you're talking about the de facto authorities. We would coordinate with them as necessary, but the focus is always on the most vulnerable people. So experienced organizations who can demonstrate that they have the systems where they prioritize the delivery to most vulnerable people, I would say, please step up. The Afghans are facing this crisis on top of a dire crisis already.
Deepmala, you referenced vulnerable communities, vulnerable people, and we know that women in particular have been subject to many, many disrespects and atrocities in Afghanistan. And do fear at this point, if even the direction of the aid might be impeded towards women who might be left widowed, whose sons may not be able to represent them. How are you all navigating that issue, getting aid to women who need it?
I mean, Natasha, women are always bearing the most serious brunt of every crisis, and this one is no different. So CARE as an organization has the experience working with women and girls. In a context like Afghanistan, what is most important is that we have women humanitarian workers, because then they are able to access and reach and talk to women and girls who are very severely affected, much more than their men counterparts. So having women volunteers, women aid workers, women who do the distributions, women who are doing the assessments of the needs actually ensures that we are able to help women up front.
Okay, and just before I let you go, right now, the biggest sense of urgency, the biggest thing you all are focusing on in the situation in Kunar and Afghanistan?
Absolutely right. I would prioritize shelter, water, food, and medical care.
Okay. Deepmala Mahla, thank you so much for joining us today. You're joining us from Nairobi, but you're overseeing the team in Afghanistan. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, Natasha.
It's our pleasure.